Clix Land. Welcome to Talkn Clix. I am Westpool, as always, your host. And with me today is a young gentleman by the name of Aron. Aron, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Aaron Morgan. You might have heard of him. He's a staple in the community. A lot of people have heard about you, know your name, but our goal today is to get to know you just a little bit better personally. Sound good?
Sounds good.
All right.
Yeah, man.
All right. So today we're going to start with a new segment because I don't usually have viewer questions. It's just my own, but a lot of the community reached out and said they wanted to ask you their own questions. So today we're going to start the new segment called Community Questions. All right. So Ryan Bookwood asks, "Who is the best Starro player, you or Miles Kane?"
So I will give Miles his due. He played a different version of Star than I did. I'm notorious for the mind control version, the 100-point dial, or now the 80-point on the Legacy. And he did the 5 attack dial, which honestly was never really played back in the day. So I'll give him his due for that. But I think consistently I have played Starro a lot.
Yeah.
So
Your version is the good version, and then there's Miles.
Miles made it work. Like I said, I'm giving him his flowers. The whole like bamfing it across the board and swinging with Milner is kind of strong if you can make it work. So
All right. Ryan also asks, "How does one keep such a well-maintained beard?"
lots and lots of beard oil and patience. Um, I think where I'm at right now is like 8 or 9 months since the last time I shaved, and it's like down to here right now.
Nice, nice.
So
Does the wife like it?
yeah, we're a very Nordic household, so kind of required at this point.
Justin Robinson asks, "When is WizKids going to give us the quote updates on the format?"
So everybody's on pins and needles waiting on Silver Age. We're getting there. I know WizKids is about to schedule a meeting with me to go over the results of the Silver Age poll they put out. That had a lot to do with the very heated debate of silver during states, and I mean, it was a good states overall. I believe a lot of there was a lot of teams that nobody expected to see do well across all of the states. So still think we're going in the right direction. The update, from what I know so far, is on track to keep that goal in mind. I will say the community will have a big part in what we're doing going forward. As far as the format itself, some of the things won't change. A big thing is going to change. So I have a lot of hope for what we're getting ready to walk into. But soon, hopefully, within the next month, we'll know something. I'm trying to get it done before the cup, but I'm waiting on them at this point.
Sounds good. Mark Bird from all the way down in Australia asks, he has a couple questions. "Who is your favorite colossal retaliation figure in the silver and why?"
Man, I want to say overall it was definitely Mangog. He just hits like a tank when you get to play him. It's harder to do that now. He's obviously his retail is still good no matter what, but he does lose the Odin sword on the small maps. He can't pull it, so it's hard with the way the map thing happens now to like get that. So you basically have to go second if you're playing Mangog to get a big map so he can do the fun thing. But still like him. Close second is Dark Phoenix. I like her a lot overall for what she does. She's just good.
Cool. Then he goes on to ask, "How did your relationship start with WizKids to be the champion of a game format?"
So actually, I went to events like everybody else. I knew Scott, not Porter, Scott D. I always mess up his name, so I'm not even gonna try. He's no longer with WizKids now, but I would see him at shows. I would see him at Alliance Open House. And it was just a conversation starter for me where it was like, man, I'd really like to do stuff with you guys. He got me in the door at, I want to say right before COVID really happened, Worlds. The first time they went to Memphis, basically. And Kenny Pena and a lot of other people were still involved with everything. And I got pulled from doing BRs to help with an event, and everybody liked how I did things. And they pulled me to the bigger events, and since then it's just kind of been show up to the shows, do the work, put in the time. At one point, I had asked about rulings for what was before Silver Age. We didn't really have one at that time; it was still in the works. And their response was, nobody wants to go that far back and deal with all that. And I was like, well, I do. It's something. There's something there. And I kind of got put on the back burner for a while. Silver in its early stages kind of got shop talked between The Rock and what WizKids wanted to do. And I got involved with Howard right as COVID started. Really, as far as the head judge for Rock went. And I wanted to do something new. And so I started looking at that format and seeing how big it was and how much value it added to everyone's collection, which was the main goal. Is after it leaves Modern, it kind of either sits on a shelf or you're playing local fun games or there's nothing to do with it really. And if there's not value there, the secondary market doesn't really care it's there either. Right. So we jump forward to the idea of Silver the first year we did it. And it was really just Modern with some sprinkles of equipment. I mean, the winners won. No big deal there. I wasn't happy with it. And watching the finals, Howard got to see why I wasn't happy with it, because it just didn't feel like something that was ours. It still felt like Modern. So we started looking at what we could tweak and change. We jumped from 300 to 400. That was a big deal. It's still a big deal to a lot of people, but I, again, want us to be different. And that's one huge way to do it. Add in an extra 100 points. There's a lot of figures on the map. Yep, it's a lot to keep up with. But you can't sit in a 400-point game and a 300-point game and go, this is the same stuff I just played last week. You're never going to see that anymore. And then I started getting my groove with some erratas they let me pull off, like Ultra Chase Thanos and the Mandarin Rings. I've been trying for other things too. I'm always trying actually for fixes for stuff in Silver to line them up with current game mechanics. It doesn't always pan out, but I do try. AD cards made an appearance that was just bad. It was the same idea. It was like, here's your one-man army. They're going to call in all the things that shoot you, and he's going to run away. And so we got rid of those, and we just kept evolving. And it eventually got closer to what I wanted. And I mean, you've seen me. I'm on almost every post imaginable if someone says the word Silver Age.
Yep.
I'm very present. I want to be known. I want to talk to people that don't like it. I want to talk to the people that love it. But if you don't like it, I need more than it should just be 300 points. I want the constructive criticism as to why you don't like the format. And then I can talk to you and try to help you either find your place or how to build in it. Or you don't. If you don't like it, that's fine. I've not shied away from that. It's not a format for everybody. It is massive. But there are a lot of us, and they really spoke up during the poll and in the Silver Screen group. If you're not in that, join that. Silver Age players are out there, and more so than WizKids thought, actually, which made me feel good.
I can speak personally that I started playing HeroClix around the time that you started the Silver Age. So I've really never known a pre-Silver Age. But as a new player, I was incredibly overwhelmed by the idea of Silver Age because there was all these figures that I'd never even heard of. like Prime Q was like mind-boggling to me. As I've grown as a player, and I've found certain figures that I want to make work that didn't get their time to shine in modern, and now because of different interactions, different mechanics, different equipment, now they have a chance to work in a way that they never had when they were modern. So, although I was overwhelmed at first as a new player, I've gotten a lot more excited about it than I used to be, and plan on getting more involved in the next year.
Good. And that's the thing we push for in my talks with the Generation X and everybody. It's how do we get that feeling of it's so overwhelming to do silver?
Hmm.
How do we get people past that? And
I really
it
just think
really
it's
comes
time.
down to, huh?
I really just think it's time.
Well, time's a big deal. Yeah, I'll acknowledge that. But the core of it though if you look at everything, yeah, and I
Yeah.
mean I'm doing it every week because I help run it. But if you like a certain play style, a certain figure base, like we'll use my Starro thing. Like I love playing Starro, always have. And it was like, how do I make him work? There was a whole year of silver where nobody played Starro at all because he just didn't work.
Hmm.
And I'd been trying and trying and trying. We got Colossus Prime and some other things. And it was like, this is it. This is the time to play it. It's going to be great. He's going to be a threat again. And I played Starro learning how to beat Unimind on the mind control dial. So it's like, I just got to like bust out these figures that were a lot of fun for me to use and continue playing them versus, hey, look, they're on my shelf or wherever I put them.
Right.
And they'll just sit there and I know that I have them. So I'm going to continue to push that mindset on people. Find what you like and start there. And then, then you go into the depth of silver. It's like, how do we make this figure work? Well, there's these older figures that do this, this, and this for it. An example that people are talking about already, but the 300-point Loki from the Iconic set, right?
Hmm.
His biggest issue is he's got one bolt. Not anymore if you play Prime Warrior Met Taggart. Anytime he uses mind control, he gets triple bolts. That's 6 targets for mind control with that Loki at 300 points.
Yep.
So there's some versatility there. You give him wiring, he's got 10 range now. He gets to see through the map, and it's like, I have more versatility out of this figure than I would in modern, where it's like, I have to survive your salvo. If I can do that, I might have a chance. If I can't, I shouldn't have brought this figure. And having those figures exist where it's like, we get the big scary monsters and there are answers, like Darkseid. Darkseid was a problem, we know. But if Silver wasn't as vast as it is, we never ever would have had Griever make an appearance, a figure that nobody played but Dan, I think.
Hmm.
And it was like, look at that. Something in Silver is going to save the day. There's Killbox Tech with Butterfly now. What's her name? She's a Secret Six chase. Deathbringer, I think that's what it is. Oh, I hit you with my control. I'm gonna pull you across the map into my kill box. Have fun with that.
Right.
And, like there's like spots coming and all these other things are gonna do the same idea. So it's like you guys just don't see the parallel yet. That's what you're looking at or looking for. Is there are things in modern that do it and might do it scarier than the finesse you need in silver to make these things work.
I think
Um,
one thing is more play silver more like local level. Like I never touched silver. I just only played 300 modern because that's what the competitions were. And so I went to my first 400 silver event and absolutely got slaughtered because I hadn't practiced it. So I think more venues using the format more often would get more players comfortable with it.
Agreed. And I'm continuously doing stuff to get silver out and about in front of more people.
Yep.
I've got some strings I'm pulling with WizKids to try to get some more things happening that way. It's great that they acknowledge the format as a real format now.
Yep.
Not just like The Rock running it and then being like, "Have fun in your sandbox, guys." It's got its own link on the website. That's huge, right?
Yep.
It's nice to be at Worlds and be helping with the world event, and Brian or WizKids people will be like, "Oh, this is a Silver Age question. See that guy over there? Go talk to Aaron. He's got all your answers there. I'm here for Modern. Aaron's helping us, but if you have a Silver Age question, you go talk to him. That feels good, right?" And I really do think, like, through everything in my past that I've been through and dealt with, and it's been nice to go from a player in this game to a part of the game in a way I never thought I could, and that's not slowing down at all, which is even better for me. It's just like this cool thing I did with a hobby of mine. Now it's more.
Yeah.
It's way more than it was. So you may not know it, but it's like, hey, look, I had my fingers in this thing, or I had my fingers over there doing, this and that, and we're trying out the new format like in King of New Orleans, the 2v2. That was a crash course event. Everybody had fun and loved the idea with it, and now I have some ways to refine it, and we're gonna keep pushing and slinging that out at different events and seeing how people like it. I know Redmond's was working on a constructed version. I'm worried about that, but I do think sealed that way in the right format will be fun. And that's what I want to do, is I want to find a way to get more people involved with this game. And I think WizKids sees that, and they're for it. That's how I ended up where I am.
Yeah. Mark's last question was, what inspired the ideas around force restrictions of 50% or less for modern figures from team builds, the OMA ruling, and expanding points out to set 400 points? Personally, it's these three changes that made Silver my preferred format immediately and has inspired a ton of teams since.
So kind of touched on it. 400 for me is I wanted something different. I wanted us to stand out. It's also a throwback to a rock format called Limited. They did. It's different. You got more play out of your figures. You got to use more of your figures. And I really want to go back to that. I think that's something people like, and obviously it's enough of a like that WizKids started making 400-point boxes. What does that say? Like, there's input and data there that says, hey, we do like bigger games. We don't always just want 300 points. So I kind of held on to that and pushed. I was like, yes, let's do that. The 50-50 thing really came down from the year of Uppsala Modern. It was a bunch of Carnage Surfers with Mandarin rings and stuff like that. And it was like, it's just not right. What can we do to fix it? I'll give Howard his due there. He was like, what if we did floor? Yeah. Floor's not used a lot in a lot of venues. That would be a fun way to spice it up. Now people are getting to use their modern, and they get to fill up their last 200 points minimum with, Silver Age stuff they found that works with their modern figures. So that's where that came from. And the one-man army thing...
Does WizKids give you a lot of pushback, or do they just kind of let you do whatever you want?
Within reason, they let me do what I want. Everything I've done for the format has been vetted in some shape, way, or form. Whether it was I'm in a chat with a bunch of people in a certain state, and I'm just like, all right, guys, here's what I want to try. Run an event, do it this way. This is just the house rule for your event. Let me know how it goes. And then I had people in the northern part of the states and out west, and it was like I had all these event datas where it was like people were liking it, and they're really, really trying out new things. And I've consistently done that with everything I've looked at for the format. Nothing I push has not been put in front of somebody or vetted before I take it to WizKids. So it's like I have proof that people like this change. Let's try it. And some of that's from people that only like modern, which is more valuable data to me than the people that already love silver. It's like, hey, I know you don't like Silver Age. What if we did this and this? And they're like, I would play if we did that. It's like, all right, well, that's a win for me if I get a new player in, so let's try it. Y'all run it, and we'll come back and touch around on it.
Cool.
And And then the one-man army thing is something I've wanted since I started Silver. Just didn't feel right yet. There wasn't those figures that stood out as a one-man army.
Right.
There were expensive figures, but I don't think they'd hang like we wanted them to. And WizKids was hesitant at first. We got stuff like Kong. We got stuff like Darkseid. We got other things. And it was like, I think we're at that spot now where you can say, all right, how do we help modern players or new players get into Silver Age? Here's a 300-point Kong. You just need 100 points of Silver Age now. Have fun. Make him scary. Oh, hi, Presley. My dog's attacking me. Hi, buddy. Anyway, so that's where that really started.
Cool.
Go get mom.
Asayo Campos asks, what is the modern figure that you can't wait to exploit in Silver?
Currently, think Namor Prime.
Yes.
I got to goof around with it this week actually, and him and Blackbeard are gross. It's figuring out the last chunk of the team to make it work. Like, they hit like trucks, but I need to make sure I'm getting the right ratio with the rest of it. So, I mean, he's a lot of fun.
He is. He's so much fun. I was just playing Miles on Roll20 earlier today, and it's really hard in 300 Modern because maps are so small. But he does a lot, man. He given the extra 100 points and the utility in Silver Age with the larger maps, he's gross.
So I think once rotation hits, I've got an idea, and I'm going to make him a Herald. Now I don't care if you have Outwit and you base me. Can you imagine dropping Galactus on a one elevation map and be like, oh yeah, by the way, he's a dolphin. Get within 4, I dare you.
Yeah.
So it's like, that sounds imposing, but that also sounds a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Like, all right, now he's protected Outwit. I'm getting extra powers to the dial and other things during the game. And oh yeah, if I get to your side of the map and you can't shoot me, and I get to that click, I'm definitely bringing out Galactus just to watch you go, what do I do against that?
Namor is right up my play style. I like things that my opponent has to think about. And yeah, he looks basic. They go, oh, I just outwit him. Really? You're going to get up next to him and then outwit him? Because that's all you have to do. Oh, you can't see for Pulse Wave. Oh, you can't Perplex. You can't outwit. Or you can't prob. He really shuts down a lot of stuff. And given the right support, I've been running with Kong at 50 to make Kong a fish.
Yeah. See? And then, there's Dear Lord in 400 point Silver Age. It's Namor with a free equipment. Maybe it's the Herald, maybe it's not just yet. That's old Starro at 100. That's a Legacy Starro at 20. I still have points to heal up Legacy Starro to full dial. And everything's a fish.
Right.
Unless you're playing Namor Prime 2 or Dolphin, what do? We're on the map, and you got a basis to fight us, and I really want you to get that close.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's that. So Namor's one. I don't want to abuse Trigun with a Soul Sword, but I want to play Trigun. It looks fun. I haven't got to play mine yet, so maybe that's something I'll look at going into the future. I really am looking at Collector Ultra Chase. He's got bananas potential in Silver Age. I think I can make a theme team with him, and it's just like, all right, cool. I get map roll, and I have team player because I've found that stupid flute bystander. So I can be Wakanda, or I can be Skrull, and now he's a 4 through 6 shape change. Oh yeah, and he has the Dream Ruby, so don't miss.
Yep.
Just wacky things I'm really looking forward to.
That's awesome.
But I build teams every day in both formats just to be like, would this work? Is this more of a local level? Is this a big game? but I'm also like semi like Miles. I bring that wacky stuff that people don't know what to do with. It's like, how do I attack you? You probably shouldn't, but go for it. I mean, that's my play style. So
McConnell Lamar asks, "Is Huntington's here looks for Huntington's the next Silver Age tournament?"
currently, yes. It doesn't mean it is the only tournament though. I know some stuff that's in the works. It just depends on when it falls, like time wise with WizKids
Mm-hmm.
and us. So prep for Huntington's, but be excited for more. And I'm really pushing for a lot more. So
Well,
McConnell might get his wish.
that, his next question is, "What's the next Silver Age event after that?" So, who knows?
Yeah. Have your teams ready and be thinking about stuff around Nats and stuff around Worlds and beyond and beyond. Like, my goal with this format is to make it a format that exists at the same time as Modern, year round. I don't want a season. I want it full born all the time. So that's what I'm pushing for. Year round Silver, as much as we can have it.
Will there be plans for state championships?
I know we're looking at 2 more states at minimum, I think. I'm not sure when the next one is going to fall. It might be right before the Cup. I know we're going to have one going toward Worlds. I can't promise that that is Silver just yet. Might be Modern because people want Modern stuff right before Worlds, and that's absolutely fine. But if the goal happens where Silver Age is around more by then it's probably going to be Silver. But we'll see when we get to that bridge.
Okay, I think that's all the community questions. So thank you, Ryan,
Wait.
Justin, Mork, Asiel, and McConnell. Those are great questions. Thank you very much for that.
I have 3. I have 3 more I got to respond to actually.
Oh, okay.
I shared that post, not realizing you just straight up tagged me in it, so we have 2 spots.
Oh.
So Ethan Davis, when do we get more changes to Silver? I went over that already. We're in the process of getting that rolled out. I'm trying to get it done before the Cup. When will Maggot be freed? He saw him with 0 play. I'm just gonna say you should go watch a Wade Barrett clip, and go from there. Um, it's so funny to me that people wanted him played. I wanted to play him. They only wanted to play him in multiples. You could play him, so why didn't you play him? You could have played him on Time Stealers currently in Silver, and he'd have been gross. Nobody touched him. So I just don't understand. Like, if he's so good, why can't you just play 1? Why does it have to be 2 or 3 or 4? I think it's 4 or 5 with Ethan. We'll find out soon enough when he sees this. Jay Patel asked, "What are you most excited for the remainder of the year?" HeroClix, period. All formats. Just want to play, see everybody, go to the events, have fun, roll out the new ideas I've got, and see where they go. There's a lot of other things coming. This year looks to be very eventful for me, and at Adepticon, everybody kind of gets to see some new roles for people involved in the community, so I'm excited for that too, actually. And then Martin Norton. Will Prime Spider-Man be released back into the wild so the Web Warriors can pop him out for a turn? I have kept my word on that list every year. If it's on the take a break list, it's always just a year's time. With what's coming, changes wise, I think we're keeping the take a break list. I don't know yet, but I think it's been good for the format overall. Where it's like, hey, look, these things were gross and everywhere in Modern, and they're just gonna walk straight over to Silver and do the same thing.
Right.
I think having that break alleviates a lot of things, and I know not everybody likes it. Like the Masters of Evil was a big one, which is so funny because everybody played them. But the track record shows from the 2 years before that if they got overplayed or they were staples in the meta, they were going to take a nap. All I did. They'll be back. I did look at the team up thing before we sat them down, but it just didn't didn't flow right. So, yeah, if it's on the timeout list, nap list, whatever you want to call it, they'll be back after rotation. I can't give an exact date because it's always fluctuating when we actually get the new list out and say everybody's free. But nobody is free from said list until we actually do that post and say, here are the updates. Everything else is released. Please don't do that weird thing where it's the day after Worlds and go, Silver Age is a madhouse. That's not how it works, guys. We updated it. It is what it is. But that's that one, and that is officially the last question.
All right. Well, that's been our first community questions. All right. So, Aaron, I've dove into the AI and figured out the perfect formula to really get to the heart of a player and really get to know them. Like, everybody knows Aaron Morgan is the Silver Age guy, but they don't really know you. Are you brave enough to stand my questions and let the community really in your head?
Let's go for it.
All right. I'll give you a softball. Tell everybody something they probably don't already know about you.
That they don't know? I can play the violin.
Wow. Is that your only instrument?
How's that for joking? Violin, drums. Drums was my secondary major back in high school and early college. I did orchestra for a little over a decade.
Wow.
I did lots of concerts, so that's a big one. And I'm also an Olympic swimmer, or I was, but I did those competitive swim meets for a long time.
Wow. Have you? What was Olympics you were in?
The last tournament I was in Atlanta. I never got to the Olympics. I'll clarify that. But I did do Olympic style swimming for a long time.
That's awesome. So when people are all butthurt about Silver Age and they're crying like a little baby, you can play a little sad song on your violin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that one's always fun to surprise people with.
That's awesome. What is the best sandwich?
Oh, good lord. Best sandwich. I got two. I'm going to say Reuben up front.
Yes.
I'm a big fan of the turkey Reuben.
Ooh.
I have nothing against the roast beef Reuben, but I like the turkey Reuben. And then a sandwich that Howard's late wife used to make at the shop. It was a club. She made it her way, and I started trying it when I worked there, and I was down there all the time. A great sandwich. It's oil, vinegar, oregano, turkey style club sandwich. Really good. Kind of sad the cafe part is gone actually, because I can still order it up until they closed it down. But yeah, Reuben up front, and then it was the Wonder Woman sandwich is what it was on the menu back then.
Cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so the HeroClix community can be pretty vocal, positive and negative, but especially when they're unhappy with something. How do you deal with the criticism from the community since you are more or less the face of Silver Age?
In stride. One or two people have hit a nerve in the weird way. One of those got publicly talked about. Another one, I spoke to the person behind the scenes. Everybody's human. Everybody has their own opinion. Again, your opinion's great. Have your opinion. I put a lot of time into Silver. So it is my metaphysical baby at this point. So I'm very protective of it. I'm very passionate about it. That shows in my conversations with people when I have these. And it shows when I stand up for it too. I'm fine with you saying to my face you don't like Silver. I'm going to ask why. I want you to give me a reason more than I just don't like it. Okay, but why don't you like it?
Right.
Can you tell me that part? I mean, it's been everything from the 400 points is too much to I want it to be on whatever we want to play. And it was like, guys, we're building something that's not been done in this game before, and that's the idea. Is it needs to be fresh and different. It doesn't need to be the same thing day in and day out. We're not going to keep players if everybody plays the same five figures for all eternity.
But do you take it
And
personally
then
when people get upset?
once or twice. Um, Most of the time, though, I don't. I don't feed into it. I went to a states event and played, and I got told to my face that I must like the taste of paste because I made Silver Age. And I went, "That's weird." Playing in it, and I just kind of walked away. So I mean, like stuff like that is just like you're going for shock and awe, and I don't have time for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like right now, you could be like, "I hate Silver," Aaron. Okay, again, just tell me why. Or if you just don't like playing it, that's fine.
Sure.
I'm fine with someone sticking by their guns. I mean, like, I don't want to play Silver. I just don't like it. Great. I'm sorry
That
we haven't won
was
you over yet. Maybe sometime soon we will.
that was my problem
Um,
this past fall when Silver was running the states, and people were really billing out. I'm like, don't play. I mean,
so that's where I talked about how wide open the top eights were and the builds that got played. We had one major thing. Oh no, we had two major things that were a problem. One was Darkseid. One was the triple Saturnine build. And then all the mission point victory shenanigans, right? So there's some ebbs and flows. This is how I see how this year went though. We had 2 years before this year where it kind of flew under the radar and everyone played relatively on the same bar. And I say that because going into the cup last year, there were builds that could have shown up that would have just been like, turn one, we win, thanks. And I had people reach out and be like, hey, we want to try this. Is this going to be okay? And I went, no, don't do that. Like, you know better. So I got confused between last year and when this year started, where the shift happened with the people that got upset with Silver. Because the community did the things to make sure it was healthy and fun and viable for everyone. And then we hit some weird road bump where it was like one man army and everyone lost their mind. I was like, guys, this isn't really that big of a difference. You could have done it in Silver already. We just have better one man armies now. That's it. Um, so this year was a lot of like wildness. But overall, it felt fresh. It felt fun. The community spoke up, like I said earlier. They love it. And then there were a few naysayers, and the few naysayers are very, very like compared to the we love this format from the community. So it was. I had a couple of bad days, and I had to check out on Facebook. It was like, I'm done for the day. I don't want to read anymore.
mm-hmm.
And then I had players reach out like D Generation Clix. Come on, man, like snap out of it. I had other friends that play locally with me. It's a big deal, right? It's like, you're doing good, man. It's like, it's great hearing that, and I mean that. But I need y'all to see how passionate I am about Silver before you can get me to like let it go.
Right.
Because it is like and my wife can attest to this. It's a 40-hour work week for me on top of my normal day job. I get messages at all times of the day. Oh, what about this ruling interaction in Silver? What about this? How does this work? You know, like it's nonstop. And there are days where I just put my phone down and I'm like, not today, guys.
Right.
And I want to get better at that for her and like my kiddo and all that stuff. And I'm working on that. But being as visible as I have been over the last couple of years for Silver Age, kind of what I asked for. And that's what's got me in better grace with WizKids and how I'm handling everything and how they know I'm passionate about it. So it's a weird, kind of have to. So I have to explain when it's like, hey, this one's important. States, I was on the phone every weekend when States was happening.
Mm-hmm.
All right, here they come. Saturday morning. Boom, 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 boom. And it just didn't stop. And then Sunday would be over, and it was like, all right, cool, I'm going to turn my phone off. Oh my God. And even recently, I've got people that have just been talking to me as friends and be like, "Hey, what about this? What do you think about this team? Blah blah blah." They caught themselves and they were like, "Wow, you've been blowing your phone up, huh?" Yeah, yeah, you have. I don't care. You're one of my friends, but yeah, like you're seeing it now. And that's kind of why there are people that push people toward the HeroClix rules group and drop that name. Because I'm in there, Anthony's in there, a lot of other people, and Lucas, PJ.
Right.
And it's really built for, like, that's what that group's for.
Yeah.
And I'm notorious for doing the same thing to WizKids employees. Like, hey, I need this answer. I'm going to hound you until you tell me. Because it matters for other games. But it's wild to be in this spot because I've made myself so visible. I don't hate it. I'm not saying that at all. It's wild to just be like, huh, I guess I can take this in now. Because if Silver is getting me that much, like, hey, I have questions. Hey, what about this? Hey, what are we doing here? When is the update coming? Something's happening the right way. Something, right?
Well, Aaron, I could definitely say you are a one-man army by yourself.
And we'll give my Judge Cabal some love. Actually, there's one thing about Silver Age, and I think I've said this on the podcast. If not, this will be the first time I say it. There is a judge chat for Silver Age, about 10 people deep. One is solely a player and a great TO for the community, and the rest are all either high-profile players and or judges through the Rock or through just period WizKids. And maybe champion Clix too. So I talked about the play groups that I give things to, like try this, try that, try this. I'm always talking to that group at all times. And they would tell like, hey, I don't know about that. Well, let's try it. Try it locally for you guys. What are your players saying? Well, leave my one figure alone. No, I can't do that. You know I can't do that. Stuff like that. So I mean, I'm the face. I would definitely say I'm the face of Silver, but I'm not alone. There are people that help me with things, and we work out stuff or updates on rules, interactions. I mean, there is a support system for me, and I'm thankful for them. So, hope everybody sees this so they can hear me say that. But yeah, man, Silver has been a wild ride, and we've still got more stuff coming.
Awesome. Is water wet?
Yes, God, yes.
Right at the beginning of COVID, my teenager and I started debating that over the dinner table, and it almost came to blows. He was very adamant that water is not wet.
You could always show her the backside of water. I'll throw that joke in. That's fine.
You're adding a power to the PAC. What are you adding and why?
Oh man, a new power. Mm. Trying to think of something they don't already do. I think that's the problem. Like they've kind of hit a lot of the superhero notes on the pack, so it is hard to think of like a color and a power to fit in that bubble of those. I mean, mm, I think if anything, it wouldn't be a standard power. I would want something like the word bubbles or like something like as an old like Adam West Batman fan, like just we need more of that. You know, like they don't do it a lot in the comics anymore, but like Wolverine gets his snink and stuff like that. It'd be cool to have more things that involve that
Mm-hmm.
and not just be an aesthetic for like Deadpool with the word bubbles where they might do something cool or they might just be really cool to look at. So maybe more of that versus a power.
Okay, that's fair.